Motorsport is a complex thing. You don't simply turn up, get in your car and race the next guy. There's planning, strategy, so much practice on and off track. Then there's data. Every pedal press, every glance, everything you do can be reduced to a number, a line on a graph. You also want to keep the boss happy. You need to make sure that everyone who's come to watch you is looked after, and you want to put on a good show. And that comes with pressure. Enormous amounts of it come and go over every race weekend. I feel it, the other drivers feel it, we all want to do right by our teams, and we all want to win. There's no feeling quite like the pressure of a race, and at Silverstone, for the last race of the 2025 Ferrari Challenge UK season, I was feeling more than my fair share.
Hello, welcome to Silverstone. The final round, oh my god, it's the final round, which makes me feel a bit sad. Well, yeah, sad and excited, because Silverstone's exciting. But yeah, it is the final race of the UK season, so here we are, back where we started, where we first started filming what feels like about 4 weeks ago. But I think that was actually in March? February? I don't remember. March, April time. So yeah, we're back and we're racing. We've got a good test day, then 2 days of racing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this. About to get into my Ferrari racing car, and even just walking into the wing, which is, as pit lanes go and as paddocks go, about as posh as it gets. You know, all of the rounds this year have been fascinating. I think back to Navarra and, you know, walking into the garage there for the first time, seeing the racing car for the first time in an environment where I'm actually going to be competitively driving, not really knowing how the etiquette works. Do I put my hands device on in the changing room now? Do I do it a little bit later? Can I wear my kit all day? Should I be dressing down? Where is everything? And then suddenly you know, we're 5 rounds in now, come to what is essentially an F1 paddock here at Silverstone, and walking in to see that lineup of cars, the poshest changing room we've had so far, and I know what I'm doing. It feels really weird. I kind of feel like I belong here, whereas certainly for the first 2 rounds at Navarra and Alton, I was like, what am I doing? I was looking for where's the guidebook of how to be a racing driver? What's the etiquette? The driving bit's easy, it's the kind of everything else. 5 rounds in, turns out all it takes to be a relaxed racing driver is to have a year of racing under your belt, or a season of racing under your belt. Yeah, I think back to Navarra and think how nervous I was. At Alton, I was nervous, and I might have mentioned it throughout the series so far, the amount of people that have come up to me and said, are you enjoying this? Which perhaps sounds like a silly question, because the answer should always be, God, yeah, absolutely. But the true answer is, if you, at Navarra, at Alton, maybe an element at Brands, when people were asking me that question, there was kind of, because whilst it looks like the most exciting thing in the world, there is so much pressure that comes with it, and yeah, the value of the car and who I'm competing against and the nature of the competition. It was all really nerve-wracking to start with. But yeah, now that the months have ticked by, I know what to expect. I'm going to say it, I'd love to get a podium here. I'd love to get a podium at Silverstone. I'd love to have got a podium anywhere, and we've come close. Yeah, beginning of the season, new driver, new car. Naturally, I wasn't in competitive places, bar a bit of luck here and there. Now, as the year's gone on, I am fighting my way through. I've got to grips with this car now. I know what the car can do. I know how to drive the car. We're experimenting with different setups on the car today, which should, in theory, make things a little bit more competitive. Yeah, I'd love to go into this, having now had, fourth place finishes, I think, overall in the year in class. I'd love to be able to just get that one extra step up. It would be wonderful. If I could end this year with a trophy, I'd be delighted. But equally, if I end this weekend again with another couple of 4th place finishes, I mean, it's been, what a year. I still have to remind myself, this is the first time I've ever done this.
Silverstone particularly special for a number of reasons. One, it seems like only yesterday we were actually testing here ahead of the season, and that was the start of the year. It was March, I think, and that was, I don't know, it feels like it was 5 minutes ago, and it was actually months and months ago, and we've had a whole season of racing in between. But Silverstone's super important for this. It's like the mecca of motorsport for the UK. Most of the F1 teams are based here. A lot of other race teams are based around Silverstone. The track itself's fantastic. It obviously hosts the Grand Prix every year. And the track itself is just very special. It's very, very fast in places. It lends itself incredibly to this particular car, the Ferrari 296. And I think what John and I are both excited about is that he's got this whole host of experience now, having done the year, to come back and actually have a proper crack at this circuit. Donington was incredible in terms of what was possible, and then it was also crushing because we were so tantalisingly close from that third step on the podium. But that was the first time of all the weekends we've had where it really felt like it was a true fight for a podium position. Previously, it might have sort of been by accident, other cars falling out of the race and stuff, and that's only because he wasn't quite at that level. But now he really is, and the chance of him actually getting a podium is genuinely realistic now.
Saturday. It is Saturday. Today is race day 1 of the final round. Yeah, today we're going to do some testing. Busy day today. FP1, FP2, qualifying and a race, and loads of other things happening, and I'm expecting there to be like 1 million people here. Not actually 1 million people, but a lot of people here. So yeah, today's going to be busy, but should be fun. There are some newbies that have appeared for this final round, it would appear, which is interesting. One of them is the son of the championship winner in my class. Gilbert Yates has brought his son along for a race, and in testing he seemed annoyingly fast. There's also another chap, Oscar Rinovich. I apologise if I've mispronounced your name, Oscar. But Oscar joined us for round 1 at Navarra, and then that was it, and was pretty damn quick. So I'm expecting him to be pretty damn quick here. And whilst he's not here getting championship points for his round, I think he's racing in the European Series most of the time. He's going to go out and have a good go. So is it annoying that I've got new fast people here? Not necessarily, but it's going to, make it more of an event, I guess. I'm hoping Silverstone brings me more of the same. I think that's the best I can hope for. If I can qualify again, sort of middle of the pack or beyond, as in up front, and finish at a similar pace, then I'll be really happy. A podium here would be magical. But Silverstone is a demanding circuit, it's a fast circuit, it's hard on these cars. We did a whole day of testing yesterday, or 2 sessions, and didn't quite get down to the times I was hoping to get down to, so I've got a bit of work to do this morning in terms of tidying up lines. Mars has got a load of data that we can look through together, and yeah, we'll hopefully put it all together for quali. The one thing I'm expecting from this weekend is there's going to be a bit of last chance hurrah, some last race heroics, so there might be some bodywork changing shape, which obviously I don't want to be part of. But yeah, maybe that's more of a tomorrow thing, who knows. But yeah, today I'm sure there'll be a few people having a good go. There's a couple of people who are trying to secure their championship victories up at the top of the list. So yeah, for them it's going to be especially high pressured. But yeah, we'll see. I'll do the best I can.
In an ideal world, we go into the Saturday, we have it's quite a busy day on the Saturday, because actually we have FP1 and FP2, 2 long sessions, then we have quali, then we have the race. So it's quite a busy day, and it feels like you get out the car, 20 minutes later we're thinking about getting ready to go out again. So we have to manage that, but I'd love to see him up where I want him to be, in the top, kind of the row 3 is where we kind of live on the grid for quali, which is always a good thing. Whether I think that's going to happen this weekend, I'm not sure. Just because what I've seen in testing, we're not quite there yet. It's got a bit of time to find. And just I keep forgetting it's his first season. I always forget it's his first season because we are doing so well. So, of course, I'd love to see him in the top 5. Top 5, top 6. Oh! That's Peter Hunter. Of course, I'd like to see him in the top 5, top 6, where I know he's deserving to be now. Like we said at the start of the season, it was almost a bit accidental if we got towards the front, but now it's a genuine fight for podium positions. That's what I'd love to see. Time will tell. I refer to John's mental positioning like every weekend really, whether it's just a test or a quali session or something like that, because it plays such a huge part in his performance. And the things are a bit different for John, as we've said many times. One, he doesn't own the car, so that's a massive weight of responsibility. You're driving around a £500,000 race car that's not yours. It's a great thing, but we have quite a lot of media attention. Generally speaking, we have a lot of guests, and that's lovely. We'd never ever discourage that, because it's like we love having people in the garage. But can you imagine you're just about to go out there and drive this car that you don't own and try and put a good lap time in, and you've got 30 odd people who want a little piece of you during the day, right? Which is great. So we've got into this little rhythm of like 15-20 minutes before going out is just everyone bugger off, everyone just sod off, because we just need to get him into the zone, and that helps, because I can see it. Yesterday, as a prime example, before we went out for a session, I was going through some data with him, and we were sat in a quiet room, and his heart rate was up at about 150 beats per minute, 160 beats per minute. It's like he'd been for a run, and we were just sat there. So that's just, if that's not telling as to where your head can have such an effect on your performance, then I don't know what is.
To get him up towards where I want him, we've got still quite a bit of time to find, but it's a dramatic improvement, so yeah. Happy? Yeah.
I had a terrible FP2, exceptionally fronted at FP2. Yeah, car was down on power, then it was out of fuel, then we had engine warnings, I had terrible vibrations. So yeah, I didn't go into quali with the biggest, highest hopes and positivity, because it does make a massive difference when you go out of a rubbish session or vice versa, or a positive session, you go into the next one being like, right, this is it. So yeah, went into quali, but the good news is all the issues that we had in FP2 were fixed, vibration gone. We found out why the fuel was doing what it was doing.
So why was the fuel doing what it was doing?
Well, allow me to introduce you to left-hand bank boost pipe,
Right.
or intercooler pipe if you prefer. There should be a hole here.
Yes.
Correct. There should be a hole here. Correct. There should not be a hole here. So that is the result of the pipe in, yes, that position, just rubbing a little bit on some bolts. So that's what caused the fueling issue.
Right.
I was over fueling on the right bank, under fueling on the left bank. So we were down on power. So we now know what it was, thankfully. That's been fixed. That's in the bin. I might keep it and use it as a yard of ale. And then, yeah, went out for quali. Unfortunately, whilst the car is way better and way quicker, we did set an okay time. A lot of traffic and 2 red flags. So we had 2 cars go off. So I didn't get the opportunity to push. I didn't get the opportunity to have 1 flying lap. So it's mixed feelings. Yes, I would have loved to have qualified a little bit higher. However, if I look at the positives here, I'm in the middle of the pack, I think 10th or 11th, maybe more, I don't know. I'm expecting the start of this race to be carnage. I'm expecting cars to come together. I'm expecting people to get pushed off. I'm fully expecting it to be the most expensive race of the season on these first few corners. I would very much like to be in a position where I can get around all of that nonsense. I'm not going to be going in battling in the middle of the grid. I will be in a position where I can avoid the cars if they do come together. So yeah, going into it with a very open mind. I can't say I'm excited, I can't say I'm disheartened, I'm just kind of a bit flat. And you know, we'll do what we can do. There is always
tomorrow.
Red lights are on the gantry for the penultimate time in 2025. We're about to go racing in the Ferrari Challenge UK. Lights are on the gantry, lights go out and the cars charge their way up towards the first corner, which is the tight corner, the fast corner at Abbey. They work their way through it and it's going to be Gilbert Yates that picks up the early lead of the race overall. It looks as though Mike Dewhurst has hung on to the early lead in Copa Shell, and already Gilbert Yates has got 2 or 3 car lengths distance between himself and Pranav Vangala in second place. Peter Hunter wheel to wheel with Mike Dewhurst trying to go around the outside at Village, which will give him the inside line for the next corner, which is the loop. Mike Dewhurst sees that Amandra Pillai is trying to work his way up the inside, so Mike just makes sure that he gives him room, because that is a Trofeo Pirelli car that he doesn't need to do battle with at this stage. He might have lost the lead in Copa Shell, Mike Dewhurst, to his main championship rival, but with Peter Hunter leading and Mike Dewhurst second in Copa Shell at this stage, that is still good enough for him to lift the title. Amandra Pillai runs a little bit wide though, going up towards Brooklands corner, just about manages to keep the car on the tarmac. Mike Dewhurst briefly almost thought about getting himself back alongside, but he's just going to tuck behind. He doesn't need to get involved in a squabble here, Mike Dewhurst. He could just concentrate on hanging on to the coattails of the early Copa Shell leader, which is going to be the car in the hands of Peter Hunter. They flash their way down the National Straight and up towards Copse Corner on the first lap. Everybody safely through the first half of a lap, and as they then work their way out of Copse and up towards Maggots and then Beckett's, they'll be flat out through Maggots, down a gear for Beckett's for the first part of it, and then down a further gear, down into fourth gear as they then pitch the car in towards the second aspect of Beckett's, and then from there, of course, they are back on the throttle again and flat out down the Hanger Straight for the first time, which offers up possibilities. Sit in the slipstream of the car, try and work your way past, if you can, in towards the braking area for Stowe, and it looks as though everybody is safely through the first 3/4 of the lap as they head up towards Stowe Corner, the end of the Hanger Straight. Jonathan Satchell further down through the order, looking to put Hussein Sert under pressure, and Hussein Sert is right in the coattails of the black car with the white livery to it, which is John Marcar's car. So they'll be fighting for something like 13th, 14th and 15th positions as they head down in towards the braking area for Club for the first time. But it's Gilbert Yates that leads from Pranav Vangala, and what a first lap from Gilbert Yates. He is 1.365 seconds up the road from Pranav Vangala. Oskar Rinjevic is there in third position, Paul Simerson is fourth, Bradley Yates is fifth, and Peter Hunter up 3 places on the first lap. It's up to 6th position and leading Copa Shell. Mike Dewhurst second in Copa Shell, down in 8th place at the moment, but that is still, if he stays where he is, good enough for him to lift the championship title. Paul Rogers coming under pressure, he's got John Marcar right behind him, so it's a Copa Shell car under pressure from 2 Trofeo Pirelli cars. You can see the difference in the sun strips between them. If it's got a red sun strip, then that is a car in Trofeo Pirelli. If it's got the yellow sun strip, and that will run in Copa Shell. And Paul Rogers having to work overtime to try and keep the car behind him, which is going to be the car of Fedor Samarakov. So they work their way through Brooklands up towards, in fact, it's John Marcar, isn't it, that's behind? So yeah, Paul Rogers trying to keep John Marcar behind at the wheel of the number 16 car, and at the moment it's doing a grand job of managing to hang on to that position. It looks as though Callum Leatham at the wheel of the number 95 car is also looking to try and make a little bit of progress, but as they head up towards Copse for the second time, it is Fedor Samarakov and Callum Leatham that are still fighting over 11th and 12th position. Fedor having gone through and ahead of Callum Leatham at the start of this lap, and is looking to see if he can just edge away a little bit and begin to bring himself up into contention to get inside the top 10. Looks as though there might have been a change further down through the order. Fedor Samarakov now not only just up into the 10th, but now up into 9th place. He snuck through and ahead of the number 12 car of Joseph Dean there, so that's been a change in the order. These 3 cars squabbling away are now the best part of 9.5 seconds down the road. There's a load of smoke, and that's a big moment for Oskar Rinjevic, who rotates the car. He's slap bang in the middle of the circuit, having had a big spin. Some drivers having to just move out of harm's way because the car is still sideways in the middle of the track at what is a very fast part of the circuit. Some going to drivers left, some going to drivers right, but they've all safely picked their way through. And then there's an off, and that's a big off, I'm afraid, for Darren Howell, who's lost the tail end of the car just as he came out of farm, and the car sort of rotated towards the barriers. It's spun around, it's way off the track, but I'm afraid it has made contact with the tyre wall there at the exit of farm and on the way up towards Village. So that's one car, I'm afraid, that will be out of this race. Darren out of the car and walking away, that's the most important thing. He's walking away from his car, albeit very disappointed, but as ever, the safety structure built into these 296 Challenge cars and all of the hand and neck supports that the drivers have to wear as mandatory safety equipment, all just making sure that the driver's protected, and hops out of the car from what was a reasonable impact to the front end of the car, and then after it hit the barriers with the front end, it then sort of spun around and damaged the tail end of the car slightly. So the team will, I'm sure, get that car back out for tomorrow without too much of a question. Here we go with what is 10 3/4 minutes remaining, plus the extra lap thereafter. Gilbert Yates leads the way from Pranav Vangala, with Paul Simerson sitting there in third position. Mike Dewhurst still hangs on to the lead of Cooper Shell, but he's got the light blue Stratstone Manchester car of Peter Hunter, his championship rival. Third in Cooper Shell at the moment, let's just pick up on that, is in 12th place, which is Paul Rogers, and he's involved in a great battle actually. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, all pretty much together. I think it's Joseph Dean that's at the front of a huge train of cars. It's just threading its way up towards Maggots and Beckett's now. Yes, it is, yeah, Joseph Dean, followed then by what will be John Marcar, and then Callum Leatham is behind John Marcar. They weren't in that position at the start of this lap, so John Marcar's now up inside the top 10. Callum Leatham in the number 95 car has lost a place, I'm afraid, in the Charles Hurst machine. Then it's Paul Rogers, followed by the recovering Oscar Rinjevic, who's now gained a further place, and he is now ahead of Hussein Sert on that previous lap, and he's now looking to try another place, get himself inside the top 12. Hussein Sert's trying around the outside though at Stowe to take the place back. That's not quite going to work, so the yellow car in the hands of the Turkish driver can't quite wiggle his way through. So they're all about to feed their way over the start-finish line now. That squabble that I was talking about, Joseph Dean, Callum Leatham, John Marcar, Paul Rogers, not far off them, Oscar Rinjevic. Then Paul Rogers and Hussein Sert all busy, with 6.5 minutes to go. They now turn their way through the first corner, which is Abbey, onto lap number 11. And Gilbert Yates at the moment still on for the extra point for the fastest lap. And the next car that he'll want to try and then catch up with will be either Steve Dobson or Jonathan Satchel. He's just heading up towards Stowe Corner. I'm afraid with that spin, the damage has been done. It will be Stephen Dobson is the next of the cars he's going to want to try and work his way through and past. And it does also mean that I think Jonathan Satchel will be potentially up to third in Cooper Shell at the end of this one, which would be his first podium of the 2025 championship season in Cooper Shell. So leader is on his final lap of the race, leading by 1.4 seconds from Pranav Vangala. In third place, Paul Simerson is now 9.2 seconds behind. And for Cooper Shell, it is Mike Dewhurst who's in 6th. The next Cooper Shell car is down in 12th, which is Paul Rogers, and Jonathan Satchel is going to keep his fingers crossed that he can hang on to what is now a 4.5 second gap between himself and Steve Dobson behind to scoop up for what for Jonathan Satchel in the number 7 car would be his first podium this season in Cooper Shell. For qualifying on pole position, he is going to be on for his 8th win of the season. Congratulations, Gilbert, it says. 2 times champion is the board that's being held out over the start-finish line. And for Gilbert Yates, he's up at Stowe Corner for the final time and is about to work his way through the Vale and down towards the braking area for Club, which is the tight left-hander going in and the double apex right-hander coming out. He hits the brakes, turns his way in towards the left-hander, through the right-hander. He'll be gentle with the throttle application on the used tyres over the start-finish line. Win number 8 of the 2025 championship season, and now without doubt meaning he is the champion for this year in Trofeo Pirelli. Pranav Vangala comes up second once more, but for Mike Dewhurst, of course, he is on for the win in Cooper Shell, and more importantly for him, for the number 78 car, it's going to be the championship in Cooper Shell for Mike Dewhurst. The number 78 car just turning its way through Club for the final time. Mike Dewhurst accelerates over the start-finish line. He was the runner-up in Cooper Shell last year. He's going to claim the win and the championship. So congratulations to Gilbert Yates. It's another win.
That man there, Oscar, is rapid. And he's not actually racing in this championship, which makes it all a little bit more sore. But yeah, there we go. Look, I did okay there. It was a 13 start and we got up to a 9, and yeah, there were some good battles. I had a great little battle with Joe Dean, great battle with Callum, got past Callum, which is actually a really crucial thing because Callum is just behind me in the championship points. So I had to finish ahead of Callum. That had to happen.
Now he's even further behind you.
He's even further on. There were a couple of opportunities to get past Joe, but in all honesty, I just thought maybe it's a bit risky. Has he seen me? Does he know I'm there? But Joe's just come up to me afterwards and said that was the hardest drive I've ever had. Just like really, really hard because I'm defending from me, which is a nice thing to hear. So look, that's not the best result of the year so far, but I kind of knew that it wasn't going to be going into this race unless something spectacular happened up front. Yeah, it's feels good. It's not a trophy day. It's not a race to remember in terms of result, but it's a good one, chalked down with some good battles, a lot learned. There'll be some data to look back on, and tomorrow we do it all again.
I am so unbelievably proud of him. I cannot quite believe, even at the end of the season, that this is real. To watch somebody you love grow like that into something he's never done before is absolutely incredible. As you can imagine with John, things get suggested a lot. So he often comes home with wild and wonderful opportunities he's been given, and I just wait to see if they happen and when they happen. So the Ferrari Challenge one was going on for quite a while. It was obviously going to happen in terms of it could happen, but yeah, I wasn't sure if it would actually come through. I was very excited for him because of the opportunity, quite conscious of how much time it would take throughout the year, mostly worried about whether I could still go on all of my holidays, but we managed to make it work, so it's all good. I didn't even think about it until the second the first race started. I had watched him practice and I thought, okay, that's really fast, but it's very cool. Until it literally started, I was totally fine and then just went into turmoil, basically. Just absolute state of panic. I am still terrified every single time. So I'm used to the process now, which is a lot easier. And I'm only worried for that 30 minutes a day. But that 30 minutes is a serious state of panic for me.
What is it that worries you?
I'm really confident in his ability, but just watching everyone else, ram into each other and go spinning off the track, it's not necessarily him that's going to cause a problem, it's other people. His progress over the season has been amazing in my eyes. As I said, it's been an absolute roller coaster. We've had highs, we've had lows, but overall, he's done an absolutely amazing job. I think he's grown as a person, not just a race driver. So it's been really interesting to see how he's taken each race, how he's walked into it with a completely different attitude. And yeah, just really excited for last race today.
The last day of Ferrari Challenge 2025. How am I feeling? Well, yesterday was an event, wasn't it? My goodness me. Not my finest in terms of performance or luck, I think is how I've summarised it to myself. But we had some competitive racing. We had some bad luck in FP2. A vibrating car, then an engine issue. We found out what those issues were. It was a boost pipe that had broken, but it meant that I went into qualifying with some confidence knocked and a bit of a maybe second guessing my ability, the car's ability here. And then in quali we just didn't get a good run. We didn't get a fast lap. We were up against 2 red flags as well, which really did slow me down. So rather than starting in my usual 3rd or 4th row in qualifying, I started on the 7th row, which is a big initial knock because of course you want to be working your way through. But that said, the race was all right. Made it up to 9th place in class and had a few battles which were very rewarding, and I felt like I kind of held my own and earned my own. But yeah, it would have been really nice to get a little bit of a higher finish, but we didn't, and that's okay because today is another day, and today is the last opportunity I get to do this in 2025. Today I need to work through data with Miles. I think that's a big thing. There's clearly a lot of areas here on the circuit that I'm making mistakes, that I'm going into hot. My braking technique here isn't quite what it should be. Annoyingly, I know it. I know that. I just can't quite find the fix yet. So hopefully I'm going to work with Miles. We don't have practice sessions today. We are going straight into qualifying. So that means the data session is vital that we get that right. So that I can go out and have a good stab at it, and hopefully, just fingers crossed, because the lap times yesterday weren't terrible, especially not in the race. So if I can replicate those for quali, then I should be further up the field. But yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to go into it with, managed expectations. Also, I think we spoke about it yesterday morning. The fact that we've got a couple of stand-in newbies, not stand-ins, but some newbies that have come along to have a go at the last round, and they're annoyingly fast. Really quick. Oscar, as I suspected, absolutely rapid. So yeah, there was a little battle there that I wasn't expecting to have. So yeah, I started, I think, on Friday morning. We were here talking and I said it would be lovely to end the weekend on a podium. I think, let's be realistic, probably not going to happen, but I'm all right with that. I'm okay with that. We've still ended the season so far on a big high. Got one last race to go and enjoy, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and enjoy it whilst also being competitive.
The relationship that John and I have is great in the sense of I can be, all he'll ever get from me is brutal honesty. Sometimes it comes across a bit harsh, I'm aware of that, you know, but it's only because, as I keep saying, I know that he has so much in the tank sometimes and he just doesn't quite tap into it. And that does genuinely only come with time. You know, he's never raced a car in his life, and yet here we are, first season, driving a very, very fast car, and the stakes are high. The stakes are really, really high, particularly coming into the final round, where there's a common theme. When we get to Sunday, everyone goes a bit balls to the wall, because it's kind of like, well, if they damage the car or something, it's like, well, okay, it'll be fixed for the next one. But it's even more so now because we're at the end of the season. So I'm almost expecting people to go a bit harder than normal. Do I think he's met the expectations from the start of the season? I'd say yes, and probably exceeded. You know, I just didn't know. John and I have known each other a long time. I know he's a decent driver, but I've never seen him drive a race car before. So to be able to deliver what he has been doing, and for us to be in the top 5 is just mega. You know, if we were driving around 20 seconds off the pace every weekend, that'd be quite demoralising for not only him but for me as a coach. But we make these incremental improvements each time, and dare I say, if we do it again, you know, they'll be able to call on all that experience from the year you've just done. So yeah, to answer the question, he has met the expectations and probably exceeded.
Quali 2 just finished. By far his best performance of the weekend. Dramatic improvement in technique, dramatic improvement in lap time, and just a really much more mature quali run. And he actually managed to stick behind Pranav for quite some time, which is great.
I feel so much more relaxed today. Knowing I had two big things on my side out there. Firstly, good little session this morning with Miles, working through the data. Having driven the car at race pace yesterday, that's been a huge help in terms of knowing what sort of speed I can carry into some of these corners, and the fact that I don't need to be leaning on the brakes as hard as I had been yesterday. So that was a big help. When we went out to get some heat into the car, fairly happy with that run, then came back in to get some new tyres, which was great. But then on the way out, I tucked in behind, new tyres, went on, scrubbed those in, came back in to adjust the pressures. Then once I was out, at this point, ready to rock now, Pranav Vangala just slid out in front of me, and he was almost my pace setter. So he'd scrubbed his tyres in, and that was absolutely brilliant. So Pranav, who's qualified, interestingly 4th, but he's usually up in the top 2. I was just following his line, following his braking points, and that was a massive help. So yeah, a lot more relaxed in the car. So a good pace to follow. A result of which has now got me into 11th place, which is 9th in class. So I'm on row 4 from yesterday, which is good. There's a few people behind me that I'm very happy are behind me, and a few of these guys ahead of me. Eli, being one of them. Leadham, I had a good battle with yesterday. Callum. So you know, there's every possibility we're going to go into this race in a far more relaxed mood and with some good battles.
Nice and neat and tidy, 2x2 order.
Go.
Car in the wall. Massive crash. Okay.
Lights are about to flash their way off on the gantry for the final time in 2025. We go racing in the Ferrari Challenge UK. Lights go out and they head up towards, and there's contact already in the middle of the pack. Hamandra Pillai goes round and spins from one side of the circuit to the other. There's a big hit for Jonathan Satchel.
Are you okay? Are you okay? No issues at all good. Mate, very well done to navigate that, spot on.
Let's just have a quick replay. Look to the left of your screen. Hamandra Pillai, there must have been a little bit of, yes, there was, a little bit of contact. Mike Dewhurst made a small contact with Hamandra Pillai. Then you see Hamandra Pillai into the wall, damage to the front of his car. The bonnet flies off, but then he goes backwards across the track, right in the middle of the pack. And watch out for Jonathan Satchel, who is collected by Hamandra Pillai, whilst Hamandra's out of control. And just look at Jonathan Satchel's impact with the wall. Big hit into the wall, huge frontal impact. Again, there's a secondary impact as Hamandra Pillai clobbers him. And then we've also got, that looks as though that's the number 12 car of Joseph Dean, who's also become involved as well. So unfortunate. Hamandra Pillai clambering out of the car, and he will be looking as though he will be, I think, absolutely fine, but he'll be equally as much concerned with what happened there and the fact that he tried to stay out of everybody's way, but unfortunately when he made contact with the wall, the car went back across in the middle of the pack. So you can see him out of the car, gloves are coming off, just shaking his hands and dusting himself down, but that was a big hit for him, and also a very large hit for Jonathan Satchel. And also good to see that Jonathan Satchel, who took, I say, a very significant hit into the wall, that Jonathan Satchel is out of the car.
God almighty. That was a start, wasn't it? The chaos. I mean, I can't even begin to unpick. I want to watch the replay back to try and understand what on earth happened, because, yeah, as I came through, I saw Hamandra's car facing the wrong way, going backwards. I saw Jonathan Satchel's car in my peripheral vision going onto the grass. I knew I had Hussein behind me in the yellow 55 car, thinking I don't want to quickly dive left and hit him. So I'm just trying to find a clear way through. Then I see Joe Dean's also going backwards and into a wall. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, made it through to turn one with just this noise of bang, bang, smoke, crash, bits of carbon flying everywhere. That was like an iRacing start, that was. But of course, for the guys down here, I was just talking to Stephen and Brian, they didn't know what had happened. They just hear the noise.
Yeah.
So of course, everyone down here is like, is that our car? Is that our driver? So scary stuff, really scary stuff.
And we do have a single file safety car restart in reality. So up towards the first corner, Abbey goes. Gilbert Yates in the lead of the race. Oscar Renjevic sitting there in second place, and Bradley Yates, which is Gilbert's son, sitting there in third position in only his second weekend of racing in the Ferrari Challenge UK. Pranav Vangala is fourth, and it looks as though Mike Dewhurst is up to fifth, with Paul Simerson and Fedor Samrakov going wheel to wheel up towards Village. Fedor bouncing across the curbs and losing out, and then Paul Simerson losing out on the exit of the loop as he had to take to the curbs and almost to the grass, as he was sort of squeezed, but fairly so, by Mike Dewhurst, who is desperate to try and hang on to the early lead in Copper Shell as they thunder their way down the Wellington Straight for the first time. Paul Simerson has the inside line for Brooklands, and he's going to squeeze his way through with 17.5 minutes of the race still to go. He's got plenty of opportunity. The difficulty for Callum, though, will be if he tries something and it doesn't work, he's got the number 16 car of John Marcar sitting right behind him. Dave and Amanda having spoken to John Marcar, saying he's new to racing this year and has gone well, John. Really has gone well in his first season of racing. He's got lots of driving experience of performance cars with his work as a motoring journalist, but racecraft is something that he's had to develop this year. And are we going to see Callum Leatham this time squeeze his way through? Darren Howell for the moment just able to hang on to the place, but Callum Leatham has got a good run, and now John Marcar has got a good run on Callum Leatham. We might be three wide here heading up towards Brooklands. John Marcar's got the inside line and goes through. Callum Leatham is in the middle and will go through, and Darren Howell sort of has to let them go through, and now the door remains open for Peter Hunter to try and squeeze his way through. So that's 3 places lost just down the Wellington Straight from Darren Howell there. And John Marcar, the big gainer in all of that, he got such a good run. Whilst they were all busy squabbling amongst themselves, he picked off not just Callum Leatham, but picked off Darren Howell as well. So that will now mean that John Marcar moves up into 8th position. So that was a really, really good effort from him. As for poor old Darren Howell, yeah, that's 3 places lost, and it might be 4 on one lap if he's not careful, because he's got Paul Rogers at the wheel of the number 20 car sitting right behind him. So great fight for what will be at the moment 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th places, weaving its way through Beckett and then out of Chapel Curve and onto the Hanger Straight, whilst Gilbert Yates still extends his lead advantage It is now 3.5 seconds as good as between Gilbert Yates and Oscar Renjevic, who's there in second position. But Oscar is coming under pressure. He's now got Pranav Vangala right behind him. So what can Renjevic do here? Representing Grey-Paul Glasgow, he's got the HRO in driver of Pranav Vangala sitting right behind him. So they all work their way through. Into the pit lane does come, having seen the black flag and the drive-through penalty board. So Mike Dewhurst trundles his way down the pit lane. You can see the hazard lights on, which indicates that he's on the pit lane speed limiter. By the time he rejoins, I think he'll be down in 14th position, potentially. If not, at best, he might be, let's say, 13th, something like that. I believe them trying to, as they went in towards Village in the loop, sneak up the inside of John Marcar's car. Now, this would be for 8th and 9th place overall, 7th and 8th place in Trofeo Pirelli. The black car with the white livery down the side, John Marcar just hanging on to it. The burgundy car with the white bonnet and the yellow stripes down it. Callum Leatham almost was able to squeeze his way through. He's right behind him again as they head up towards what will be Lovefield. And if they delay each other, don't rule out the fact that the light blue car, which is going to be Peter Hunter, who is second in Copa Shell, might just catch up as well. So the difference between the sun visors on the car. If you see the car with the red sun visor and the FIA logo on it, then that car runs in Trofeo Pirelli. And if it's got the yellow windscreen header, then that means that that car runs in Cooper Shell. So no difference in terms of the cars. It's all down to driver experience and ability as to which one of those two categories you end up in. So Mike Dewhurst has rejoined, but he has rejoined ahead of the battle of Paul Dixon and Hussein Sert. So that will drop him down into 12th position. And that will mean that he is now off the podium in Copa Shell. So he's still got some work to do if he wants to get back onto the podium for the final race of the year. It's down the Hanger Straight. We've still got that fight going on for 8th and 9th place. John Marcar under big pressure. And are we going to have a change for second? Or Pranav Vangala almost was able to unlock the door there on Oscar Renjevic. And then the difficulty is he tried something and it didn't work. And straight away he's back under pressure from Bradley Yates that sits behind, who is desperate to see if he can finish on the podium. So through Beckett's. And then sweeping their way on towards the Hanger Straight. It's still the number 5 car of Darren Howell that hangs on to 10th place overall. And are we going to have a change now for second? There's a little bit of contact, I think, there between Oscar Renjevic and Pranav Vangala, who was able to squeeze his way through, and because Renjevic was then offline and a bit of bodywork flew off his car, and he might not be done as yet. He's up into the podium spots, but he is hot on the heels of the car that's in second, Pranav Vangala. We still have John Marcar as well, with Callum Leatham right behind him. That's another fight that we were touching base with a few laps ago. That's for 7th and 8th place overall. The black car of John Marcar with Callum Leatham, again, weaving around behind him, but it's too far away as they head up towards Brooklands. So there's no change in that order. And what about Mike Dewhurst catching the cars ahead of him, with Copa Shell still being led by the light blue car of Peter Hunter? Mike Dewhurst was 5 seconds adrift of the Darren Howell and Paul Rogers squabble. He's now only 2.3 seconds behind them, so he's edging ever closer. And last time through, he was 3.5 seconds quicker. So we've got 80 seconds of the scheduled 25 still to go. Oscar Renjevic is still struggling with the number 21 car. Whatever happened, there was just that light contact between himself and Pranav Vangala. Say a little bit did fly off the car, but all of a sudden since that, the car has lost pace. Last lap from Oscar Renjevic was a 2:13. Makes me wonder, maybe he might have a slow puncture or something like that, because he's going to lose out again here to John Marcar, who's going to squeeze his way through. And Oscar doesn't put up a great deal of defence to that either. I think he knows the inevitable's coming. Callum Leatham also was able to wiggle his way through. So another 2 places lost on that lap for Oscar Renjevic, who, again, yeah, his best lap is nearly 10 seconds quicker than what he's doing at this stage. So something isn't right with the number 21 car, and he's really struggling with it. But if he can stick with it for another 30 seconds plus a lap, then he will then be on to at least see the checkered flag. Just keeping an eye on what's going on with Darren Howell and Paul Rogers for what is now 3rd and 4th in Copa Shell, the final podium spot. It is still Darren Howell that is hanging on to the position. He has soaked up enormous pressure from the purple and Dayglow pink car of Paul Rogers, who had another little nibble into the heavy braking area at Village, but again couldn't quite wiggle his way through. So he's got another couple of rolls of the dice to try and see whether he can prise the door open a little bit and at least get himself onto the podium spots in Copa Shell. Peter flashing his lights, and he weaves his way to look to go up the inside at Stowe Corner. but he'll know full well that what he's trying to do is pass a Trofeo Pirelli car, and therefore he's got a bit of a gap. He can afford to bide his time and then pick him off on the exit of the corner, which again he is able to do. Oscar tries to fight back on the brakes in towards Club, but Peter Hunter is through and gains a place, and that means that Peter Hunter now is up into 8th position overall, and Oscar Renjevic will be one of those sort of races, oh what could have been, because it just hasn't happened for him. Up towards Stowe Corner goes our newly crowned champion, our back-to-back champion in Trofeo Pirelli. Heads out of Stowe for the final time in the last race of the 2025 season for Ferrari Challenge. Onto the brakes at Club Corner. He flicks his way left, he flicks his way right, he'll feed in the throttle on the used tyres, and it is going to be a 9th win of the season for Charles Hurst's Gilbert Yates, who comes through to take the last checkered flag of the 2025 Ferrari Challenge season.
Right, come on then, John. You've just finished your first season of motorsport.
Isn't that bonkers? I've just finished my first season of racing at Silverstone in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Wild. You guys are. I'm just going to say, amazing, so amazing. Hope it was entertaining. It was. Catch us for a debrief. Yeah, we will. That last race, my God. Do you know how I said to you before the weekends, like sometimes I get into the flow of it, and these races, they feel like they last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That one felt like it lasted about 2 hours. That was intense. I was defending the whole time. Callum Leatham drove so well. But he wanted to get back because, of course, I got by him. I did a 3-car abreast overtake, which I was like, well, it's happening. I'm here. It's got to make it work, and so I did. So yeah, got some good moves there. Got some good overtakes done. I feel great. You know, it was a P6 in class and started back at 11 on the grid. So, you know, yes, there was a bit of a coming together at the start line, which was obviously a bit stressful and horrible. But yeah, to have finished the race with genuine battles the whole time, that was a half an hour battle. Feels amazing. So yeah. It's been a busy weekend. Yeah. My God. I'm glad it's over. I'm sad it's over. But I'm glad the car is in one piece. Yeah, it's been probably the most demanding, challenging, sobering, but one of the most enjoyable as well. Now that it's over, I can say that. The primary question, yeah, the big question I've had from everybody, from friends, from family, from just friendly people on the internet, are you enjoying it? Which sounds like a really bizarre question, and it is only really on reflection that I can say yes. Of course I am. I have enjoyed this massively. It's been real hard work. It's been genuine hard work, but yeah, it's what an experience. I mean, what a mad year. We were here on April 1st this year. It feels like it could have been, I don't know if it feels like it was 2 weeks ago or 2 years ago. But yeah, in a short space of time, we've done a lot. It's been very hard work, but my God, it's been good fun.
Yeah, what a way to end the season with probably the biggest crash we've ever seen.
I told you there would be.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of this video, I feel like there's going to be a big crash this weekend.
I said the same thing the previous night. I said, well, Sunday always tends to be a bit more tasty anyway, because people aren't too worried if they damage the car a little bit. But we weren't quite expecting 4 cars to not even make it to turn 1.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's okay, which is great. But you watch the footage where from where you were sat, you had the front row seat of all of it, and just threading it through and not getting even so much of a scratch on the car is just nothing short of, I think, more luck than anything else. Obviously, lots of skill.
I've been driving in Birmingham for a long time. I know how to avoid an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday was a tough day. I found it hard to say that I enjoyed yesterday because we had some issues in FP1 and FP2. Didn't get a good lap in quali. Went into the race furthest back I think I've started so far. So that was tough. You know, we've got a few battles under our way, but didn't finish the race in a particularly inspiring position. It was still in the top 10, still got some points, so that's good. But yeah, today needed to be good, and we did. We got a better quali today, found a second, and there probably would have been a little bit more if I hadn't have been a bit messy through some of the turns here. But yeah, what happened and the result of which was we went into a race which had a very dramatic start, but we got some good battles. Started P11 and came in 6th, so that was all right.
I don't think I could have asked for really any more to end the season as we did. You know, it was the guy that we've been battling most of the season as well, Callum Leatham. You're right in the mix there, and you're both just driving really well. So to end up with a fair battle, and like most of the race, it was like the last half of the race was you having Callum breathing down your neck the entire time. So to go from where we were on the grid, like we say, better grid position, but to finish at a very, very convincing 6th, having had immense pressure from behind for the majority of the race. But that's not something we probably would have survived at the start of the season. But
no way. I said at the end of Donington that the biggest, I think, challenge for me throughout the year has been the pressure that I put on myself, because I always want to be good at everything I have a go at. I don't want to be average. I don't want to be all right. I want to be good at it. And yeah, going into this at the beginning of the year with, the generous gesture of being offered this seat, you tell your mates in the pub and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. You're the luckiest man in the world. That's going to be amazing. And the answer is always like, yeah, it is. But also, imagine if I go out and I'm rubbish. Imagine if I go out and I can't drive the car. If, I'm right at the back consistently every single time. I can't control the way that it drives. I don't understand downforce. I can't get slick tyres to work. All of these things were in my head the whole time through. And for the first couple of rounds, I was entering it with the most severe imposter syndrome, going, I should not be here. Like, what on earth am I doing? Getting into a 700 horsepower downforce car and racing at circuits like Silverstone. But of course, as time's gone on, as I always do, it takes the end of the race, it takes the drive home to reflect, and then it takes firing up the YouTube channel to watch back the Ferrari live feed and watch the race back. And that's the first time, genuinely, because I haven't done it yet today, it's the first time I will watch it and go, oh, this is quite good. It's not too shabby. And you're right, Miles said battles today. That battle with Callum made that race feel like it went on for 2 hours, and it was so intense. But there is no way in hell I would have been even slightly capable of holding him off as a competitor, defending as I was, whilst trying to control the car with the tyres absolutely end of their life. Today was like, yes, not the best result I've ever had in a race, but it's certainly the hardest I've had to work in the most challenging environment with the most pressure. So yeah, it's a big win today. So that's a very long-winded way of saying, yes, I am actually quite proud of what I've achieved.
Honestly, I just feel like so much has happened. It's not been a season where we just turned up and we sort of, blanked around or anything like that. We turned up and we learned something every weekend, that we made improvements every single weekend. And yeah, there were some tough times. I don't know, we've had a few, there's a couple of times where I've had some choice words as well. So it's been quite brutal at times, but I just don't think I wouldn't have had it really any other way to do it how we've done it. So it's been a hell of a learning process for us into this new series. But like I say, I don't think I'd have it any other way. It's been bloody hard work, hasn't it? But it's been very, very rewarding.
None of this would be possible if it wasn't for Phil Hands, who owns this car, who jokingly said to me about 2 years ago, I think we should enter the Ferrari Challenge series and buy a car. And I went, yeah, all right, joking around. And then about May, June last year, he slides a piece of paper across my desk and says, oh, there's your new company car, by the way. And I kind of unfolded the piece of paper, and it was the order form. I've still got it. It's probably in my laptop bag outside. And he said, there's your new company car. We're going racing next year. So that was it. That was where it all started. And it was like, oh my God, we're actually doing this. But yeah, I mean, Phil's trust in me to give me the opportunity to do this, to put our logo on the car, to put friends' logos on the car, to go out and have a crack at this, because we could have played it really safe. And at the beginning of all of this, I had Zoom call with Matt Griffin, who's the chief instructor for the series, and Matt asked me the question. He said, do you want to go out and have a good time, or do you want to go out and be competitive? And I said, I'd like to say a bit of both, but I want to be competitive. And I feel like I have been. So I feel like I've done Phil proud. I feel like I've done the entire team proud. But also, you know, beyond Phil, to give me this opportunity has been amazing. So I'll always be grateful to him for that. But also Alexis and the team at Paramex, who, again, it's without those guys, this wouldn't have ever happened. The technicians, the team, my God, like Stephen, Brian Monday to Friday works at the Solihull dealership, Greypool, Birmingham, servicing people's Ferraris, and weekends that we go racing, he gives up those weekends to come here and be a hands-on tech. And the weird thing is, Stephen and Brian, for me, this year have been so much more than just the mechanics. They are the first and the last people I see when I go in the car and I get out of the car. Stephen buckles me in, he tightens them up, we have a quick talk every time, a little joke, a little laugh, and it's so warming to have that. It means so much. And the same with Brian. You know, Brian he's an encyclopedia of knowledge, and just is able to explain things. And there's so many questions all throughout the year, like, why does this happen? How does this work? And Brian just explains it. So yeah, that's been incredible. And of course, Davide, who's been our kind of chief engineer for the year. Sadly, Davide couldn't have joined us here at Silverstone because he's been at his brother's wedding, so we'll let him off. But yeah, Davide has been, again, he's just so brilliant. And we first met Davide at Navarra on one of our test days, and Miles and I looked at each other after the morning of him kind of giving us a bit of insights on the car, and we were like, we have to keep this guy. So I went to Ricardo, the head of AF Corsa, and said, what can we do to keep Davide? Because there was no way we were doing this series without him. So yeah, Davide, Brian, Stephen have been amazing. We've had an amazing stand-in today as well, who's been great. But then there's the entire AF Corsa team. You know, everybody's got their own mechanics for their own cars, but everybody helps each other out. And it's the community of all of this has just been so amazing. That's the one thing I didn't expect, is how much of a community there is behind this in terms of everything from the hospitality team, the guys that sort us out with food and drink and breakfast in the morning, they're all amazing. The events team, Amy on the events team is just incredible. And my God, the amount of times we've gone to her last minute requests with like, oh, someone's stolen our passes, can we get some more? And you know, it's just being from the events world, I know how annoying that is. But it has, yeah, it's just been amazing. And of course, a shout out as well, this video production team, Henry, Alex, Reggie, Drew, behind the scenes, getting it all done from a production point of view. Then the wider Ferrari media team, Chris Hartley media team, who have been so generous. You know, the footage that we've got from this season is all thanks to them. So a massive thanks to the team there. Jason Harris at Ferrari as well for being so kind and accommodating. We started the year kind of going to Jason and going, hello, we're a brand that reviews cars and we're going to go racing. Sorry. And he was a bit cautious, I think, bless him, old Jason. So thanks for sticking with us, Jason. But yeah, as time went on, Jason realised we were in it for a good time, and we were going to showcase the brand as positively as we could, and I think we've done that. And it's not been just through unnecessary sycophantic nonsense. We've loved this. This has been wild. This car is utterly, utterly insane. And then, of course, there's the non-Ferrari people that have made this work for me. And I'm actually getting a bit emotional thinking about this. My other half, Amy, started this year having never been to a motorsport event in her life. Never. And she came along to Navarra for the test day before the race. Didn't know, like, pit lane etiquette. I was explaining, you know, when you walk out, look left, there might be cars coming. You can stand here, you can stand here, you can do this, that. And I remember having this absolute fear that something was going to happen to me. I was going to have an incident in the car. And of course, the one person that should be there to hold her hand and go, this is how it all works, is the one that's firing around the circuit in the bloody car. But she has been such an amazing support to me this year. Without her, I don't know where I'd be. You know, the bad days that we've had and the challenging days, we go back, as I say, go back to the hotel room and watch the races back. And she's there to kind of talk me through it. And she's always going to do what she can to kind of pep me up and cheer me up. But it's always genuine. And she's a great leveler at the same time. She's really kind of kept me grounded at the times where I could have got away from myself and got a bit carried away. So she has been utterly incredible this year. And yeah, a massive thank you to Amy, my other half. And then, of course, family and friends coming on. My sister comes along, my little niece, Lily, comes along, so Alice and Lily. My dad's partner, Alice, who's been my stepmum forever. To have family here and to see me do this, it's utterly wild. It's wild. So, yeah, so grateful to everybody, because, of course, everyone's just been so supportive and there's been so much love with this. And it's unlocked an entire new chapter for me and the relationship with my family and with my other half. And yeah, it's been a really amazing year. I will never ever forget this, and I will always look back with such happy memories. It's been great. Sorry, I've got one more person I need to thank. This one's quite important. This man here. This one's quite important. I started this year saying to Miles that we were going to go, do this mad thing. And I could have been utterly useless. There was every possibility I could have been useless. And we kind of said that to each other. And we went into the test day here. That was the first time we'd ever actually properly spent any time in a fast car together.
Yeah, it was.
We both kind of said to each other at the start of the day, this might not work. Like, this might be complete. It might ruin our friendship and our working relationship. We might fall out. But somehow we've managed to get through it with a lot of fun. And you have made me, without any question of a doubt, such a better driver. Such a better driver. Without you, this year I could have been teamed up with any random driver coach who might have been good, might have been bad. But the fact that we've had, as you said earlier, the ability to go throughout this season and rip into each other if we need to.
Yeah.
If I'm having a hard time with you, I can tell you. If you're having a hard time with me, you can tell me. You will tell me in the car if I'm being shite. You will tell me if my lines are wrong. You did today. If I'm overdriving the car, you tell me. And it's been the most honest and the most clean-cut way of doing it. And I wouldn't have ever hoped for anyone else. You've been absolutely brilliant. And yeah, thanks, man.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to hear, and it only echoes really what we've been saying throughout the season, right? So I've coached many people over many years, I suppose, and it's never been quite like the relationship that we've formed over it. So yeah, mate, well done. It's been an absolute pleasure. Well done, mate. It's been strong.
Hasn't it just?
What a lovely time.
How'd you fold a chair? How does that work?
A bit of foreboding. There we go. What do you think? Fancy having a crack at it next year?
I suppose we could have a go.
This car here, the car behind me, is very special. It's a Ferrari 296C, the C standing for Challenge. It's not the first time we've shown you this car, but it is the first time you will have seen it in this colour with these logos on it. But even more exciting than that is the driver. It's me.
Hopefully my face tells a bit of a story. There's a fizz that sort of feels like it starts at the crown of my head and sort of goes all the way through. It is such an incredible thing to drive.
Fedor is doing if there was objective lesson in how to defend your position, Fedor until now had been able to really say this is how you do it. And just as I mentioned that, John Marcar has found a way by.
He's been trying for some time now.
He's just put a mega move on the car. He's just put, that's the...
That's going to be a red flag. I think now the number 16 machine of John Marcar has finally managed to pick the pocket of Stephen Dobson for 10th place.
No second opportunity needed. John Marcar just took his usual racing line, squeezed his way through.
Mike Dewhurst has got John Marcar getting closer. In turn, he's got Peter Hunter getting closer and Callum Leatham. I think he's taken a step back to have another look at this, mainly because John Marcar's now going for the move all the way around the outside of Mike Dewhurst. It was the inside on the exit of Surtees. It'll be the outside at Hawthorne. You've got to be very brave and ask a lot of the Pirelli tyres. This time I don't think it's going to work, but goes for the cutback in turn and Callum Leatham is to the inside of Peter Hunter. Later on the brakes, is the position finally going to change for Callum Leatham? We wait for them to reappear. No, Peter Hunter, he holds on to 7th overall, but remains 2nd in Coachelle.
No, and John Marcar has not as yet this year had a podium in Trofeo Pirelli. He's had a couple of 4ths, he's had a 5th, he's had a 6th. Well, at the moment, yes, he is now up into 4th overall, but that is 3rd in Trofeo Pirelli at this stage. But the job isn't done as yet. The clock may well have ticked to 0.
It's been a really, really, really amazing year. I will never, ever forget this, and I will always look back with such happy memories. It's been great.